Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar about manager dashboards, activity control, and pipeline visibility. I'm Joannika from Full Solutions, and I'm here to talk about some practical things to you about Bitrix and your reporting. Let us start with something before we actually look at the dashboards. And that is that reporting is not only a dashboards. Good visibility starts with properly planned fields, meaningful stages, consistent activities, and simple operational reports is what you get. So if we look at some examples for this, we can say fields are inconsistent if you do not do this properly. Like text fields are being used where you should have a drop-down field or things like that. Just makes it much more easier to report. Naming conventions. If it's not clear, then I can't report. So these are little things that we will practically look at in Bitrix. So, and this is the end results that you get. Once again, if it's not planned properly, you get messy reports from text fields. What you should get is drop downs to get standardized reports, and then there's a lot of other benefits you can get if you planned it properly. One thing that people quite often underestimate is the naming of your stages. If I want to report on where my business is, my stage name needs to be in such a way that I know, did it happen? Is it still happening? Is it supposed to happen? So I made a few examples for us on, actually two, on what's good and what's not so good, or what's ideal and not so ideal. If you look at the top pipeline, if I just use words, and it's not that it's wrong, when I've got new and contact, visit, quote, follow up, done. So if I run a report on all the leads or deals that's in the visit stage, I don't know, does it still have to happen? Did it happen? What about it? If you look at the green pipeline at the bottom that says site visit completed, then if I run my report, I'll know that this is how many has been completed. So just a small tweak that gives you different value. The same with the first stage and the second one. Those are the second one's actually my favorite one, to say we've received a new inquiry, and then if it just is contact, how do I know? Am I supposed to do it? Did it happen? I like to call that stage contact made, or first successful first contact completed. So you don't just move it if you send a mail or had a call and it went to voicemail. Those are the important things from my point of view that can help you with the reporting. So that's a bit of the technical, the theory or whatever, but it's all good. Let's look at it in Bitrix24. Let's just go to Bitrix and we can have a look at the examples. There we are. So the screen I have open at the moment for us is leads. What you might miss sometimes is that this view that you have is a report. You don't even have to go to your report writer or builder. I can already see I have 4 leads in customer contacted stage. I've got 3 in that stage and 1 in this one. That is already a mini report that you have. The same with your filters on top. If I want to see all the leads that was created today, or Let's look at everything that is for the product, digital and social media, that you can see the fields on the left. So if I go and find that field over here, if it's not displayed, you can search for it. There you can see events, product interest. Now I can search. So I want to know how many inquiries that I have for digital and social media. I can select that option and I can go to search. Now there's already a mini report. You can do it this way using your Kanban view, or you can use your list view. It just gives you a different view of the results. If I go to my list view, I can do exactly the same thing. Then what you can do over here as well is set up predefined filters. So like I said, it's not a dashboard, a report, a big thing. Use this as a report. If I do this, I can now save this filter as something that says digital and social media. So I know when I click on that filter, that is what I see. So I can go save filter and say digital and social media. And I have this saved now as filter/mini report. I can also make this available for my other users as well when I save that filter. So now I've got my mini report over there. Now the question is, what do I want to see in this report? For that, in your list view, you will use your gear here on the left. And you can pick, so this is my demo system. It has a lot of information. If I go and I search over here, I want to add those two items. It is now part of the information displayed on my screen. If I scroll right, you'll see all of this. And then you can export this as an Excel if you want. If you want to do some further calculations on it, you can go to that and export it either as a CSV or as an Excel. And then you can work with the data further. So it's a simple way that you store in your CRM, when I say the working screen where you work, that is already a report. We can do the same when we work with our deals. If we look at this screen, you can see the filters is available there as well. If we go to contacts, once again, we've got the same thing. What I like to use contacts for is to filter in terms of when were they created, what is the industry, what product are they buying from us. So those are the things you can filter here. And then we have companies as well. Same thing can apply. So we can use whatever we want to do that. Let's go to some reporting modules in Bitrix. So this is a very nice reporting part that if you think about pictures. I'll show you how you get to all these reports just now. So sales funnels. So there's a very important thing that you need to know when you look at sales funnels. This word, with conversions. If you look at the reports in Bitrix, you can pick, say, is it with or without conversions? If I click on the next one, you'll see the data is a little bit different. This report's very valuable in terms of when you look at your conversions from leads to deals. If you get 100 leads and only 2 of them are converting to deals, then you know there's a challenge. If I get 10, but 6 is converting, I'm getting a better result. I'm getting more quality leads. And this report shows you, was it converted, who converted them, So who's your employee that's the best salesperson, and also what is the sales total you got from that. So it takes that whole journey from lead to deal. On the left, you've got a lot of reports that's there by default. You don't have to build them. It's there. If I go to, let's go for instance to sales trends. So you look at what's being sold. If I go to my clients, I can see who's my regular clients that's doing a lot of purchases from me. And then this one, my reports, has got a bit more detail. If I go to leads over here, I have here's demo data, and I'm having it there specific to show you. So you've got a lot of widgets on one page, like a snapshot view of what's happening in your business. Employee performance, conversions, your leaderboard. It is a very, very nice report to have a single view. When you look at this date field, so reporting period in Bitrix doesn't mean where we are now. It is based on when was the lead modified. When you look at the other reports just now, that's like Excel filters. When was it modified? That's what this is based on. So if I look at this and I look at all the options available, that's what was modified in the last 30 days. So what is sometimes confusing the customer, so if this lead, like we have that deal's been there for 2 years. It was stale, nothing happened. And then, well, we have a lead now that came back from November. Now it's going to be part of my statistics for this month. I didn't create it this month, but I modified it this month. Always keep that in mind, else you're going to think your statistics are completely wrong, and it is actually right. You just forgot about that. In terms of contacts and companies, you've got different types of things. How many clients did I gain? How many companies did I gain? So go play around with these reports. There is quite a bit. If you use inventory, there's reports on that for the online stores. Another nice one is the core statistics. Now, it doesn't help if I don't have any data on my live Bitrix, so I'll show you a report for that. So use those reports, it's there. You have to go and open it up. So it doesn't have at the moment a feature where it emails it to you automatically. So those are dashboard widget type of reports. A picture paints 1,000 words. But then you also have the Excel filter type of reports. And that's been there from the beginning in Bitrix. And sometimes I still like that. I prefer that over the BI Builder reports because it's a bit easier for my non-developer database mind. If we go to the reports over here, there's already a lot of default reports. You don't have to create new ones. If you look at this, you'll have the amount of won deals by contact customer. I'm not going to open up all of them. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think, when you look at the name. If I open up deals by representative, you can see why I say it's an Excel filter type of report, where you have the columns and the data and totals of what's happening. Once again, remember your report. It is the reporting period in terms of when did they work on this deal. But on this report, you can change it a little bit. If I just want to report on the deals created this month, you can add your own filter like you would use your filters in Excel. How do you do that? You go to the gear item and you will say copy report. You can't modify a standard report on Bitrix, but you can add filters. So don't get a fright. It looks like a lot. And I like to say your screen over here is split into two sections. The top is what I am showing, those columns that you saw, and the bottom part is how do I want to filter. So if you want to add data, you can just add a field over here, but I want to show you for this exercise how do you add a filter, like the date created. So to do that, you would go to the plus icon on the right, and then you select the field that you want to filter by. So over here, you'll just have to scroll to find that specific field. So start date or created date is the same thing. So I'm going to say created on, because that's what I want to filter by. And then you pick the options here, like you would filter in Excel, is equal to, is more than or equal to, whatever the options are that you want. So I'm going to pick is more than or equal to. If you want to hard code it, you can pick a specific date. And then on the right for these filters where you see the blue tick boxes, if it's ticked, then it means it will show in your own report. If it's not ticked, it will apply, but you can't change it. So I'll just do this as an example for you. If I untick company type and I untick contact, when we run this report now, it will not be there anymore. So now I can create the report. And now you can see I've got different filters, and I can filter by the created on date by picking a specific date. Like with your list view, what you can do over here is you can go and export this to Microsoft Excel. So that's your Excel list type of reports. There's a lot. Play around with it, add your own filters, remove filters, and you can export to Excel. But then we come to BI Builder. So there's another webinar on our YouTube in details about BI Builder that Philip did to show you how to tweak it a little bit. But I just want to show it to you in terms in high level, because that's a gem that some people don't know about or they forgot about, where you can have very nice dashboard reports. So I'm going to go to my all dashboards, and then there's a lot. I've clicked on the CRM options now, but when I show you where you get the menu item, you'll see that there's a lot. If I look at deal activities, for instance, and I click, let's go to leads. And we'll look at this report for lead generation. So it's not a lot of data, and it shows you what you can see. Once again, a dashboard. This one has already got quite a few blocks with information that you can use. I'm just scrolling through this very quickly on your own Bitrix. You can go and open it up, and it is a quick report. Filters here on the left, you'll have some default filters that's there when you get the report. If you need additional filters, you can use the other webinar to see how you can tweak it, or you can contact us if you have this picture in your mind of how you would want your dashboard to look like. You can contact us and we'll gladly quote you to say how we can give you that report. Again, we've got our date range in terms of when was it modified, and grouping in terms of how you would see it, in terms of the split. So if I do an hourly split, remember when you change something in this, you have to click on apply for it to pick up and change the data. So you can see this kind of doesn't make sense. So you can then change it back to however you would want it to be. I'm going to take it back to month. So when you've built a specific report over here, you can share it with other users in your business, or you can download it. So if I go to download over here, you can see I can download it either as a JPEG or as a PDF, and then email it to management maybe, or you can also share it by creating a link or sending it to someone in the Bitrix chat as a JPEG or a PDF. A myriad of reports here that you can use. So the question is, how do I get here? So in your Bitrix, if you are in CRM and you go and you don't see analytics on your top menu over here, you can go to more, and then you can scroll down until you find analytics. Now, it's important that you know what you get where. Everything that pops up here by default is your BI Builder reports. There's a lot of them. You can even see we've made copies, we're playing around. And then at the bottom, if you hover on real-time analytics, this is where you will get the sales funnel report, the dashboard I showed you right in the beginning. And if you go to reports over here, that is where you will get those Excel list type of reports. And that's there by default. You just have to use it. So let's just recap and go back to the beginning. To get proper reports on this, you need to plan your fields. I'd like to use the example when we did work for an airport carrier, the airport field. So the airport field, some of them captured it as JNB, some captured it as JHB because apparently the airport code is JNB and not JHB. So when we tried to run a report on how many flights or bookings did we have for Johannesburg, it was completely skew and not the real information. How did we fix that? Have a drop down of all your different airports and they can just pick one. And when I then do the report, I do it based on that listing. Also, if you want to do some calculations on percentages and values, try and use a number field or try and use a money field and that you can do calculations on. Because text fields, a little bit difficult. Then also remember your deal stages. If you want to report on what still needs to happen or did it happen, your deal stage names needs to make sense in terms of where it is in your process. That's a very quick high-level overview of the reporting in Bitrix. Doesn't have to be complicated. There's a lot of options available. This recording will be on our YouTube channel, so you can refer back to it to play around and see what you have. Like I said, if you need any additional maybe training or additional BI reports, you can get our details on the link below and on our website, and we'll gladly discuss it with you to see what it is that you need. That's my story for today. Thank you very much for giving me some of your time to run through these features.